pull and drag.
I bet it's a big bass.
It's probably a catfish.
On a spinner?
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, it's probably.
It might be a big catfish. The way it's.
I don't know what it is.
No, it's a nice bass, dude.
Oh, it is a nice.
It's a
bass.
real nice bass. That's a hog, dude. That's a stud.
Can't get him over
Look at
there,
that thing. Wow. That is a stud. Here, hold this. Hold that. Try not to shoot down my butt crack.
Probably been easier to walk. Oh, you guys got that tree kind of in the way there. Rex is rescuing my bass.
What a stud, dude. That's a solid 3.5, 4 pound fish. Look at that pig.
That's on that dark shad jig that I made. That's huge. Dude. I need some pictures with that thing.
That's a tank.
I'll bet you that's every bit of a 4 pounder.
4 pounder, I'm sure.
Ditch Pickle City.
Well, as you can see, winter is back. Not that it ever went anywhere. Good morning from Wichita, Kansas. Last I checked this morning, it was a balmy -3 degrees. And I have to be out this nonsense this morning. Oh. What's that say? 1 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh. That is cold. My breath literally looks like I'm breathing fire.
No, I am your father.
See? Yeah. It's not so much the heat, it's the humidity that gets you. So, I've decided that now that the weather is warming up here in Wichita, what better way to celebrate than to start talking about bass fishing? Let's do it! Well, hello, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 12 of PondHopper Outdoors. With only 3 episodes left before we bring Season 1 to a close, we are patiently awaiting the return of open water, warmer days, and you guessed it, bass. As the fish are being totally uncooperative right now, we decided that it's time to start preparing for the return of the old bucket mouth. In this video, we set up a new bass box for Season 2 and share some tips, tricks, and must-haves for targeting our big mouth friends from the bank. Remember to join us for Jigs and Coffee every Friday at 8:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, and as always, thanks for watching PondHopper TV, and enjoy. As you can see, the weather outside is not really conducive to a lot of fishing here in Wichita right now. Unfortunately, we get just enough ice here to be unsafe. And right now, the fish are pretty much on strike. So I decided today to spend a little time with you here this afternoon and put together my tackle box for the upcoming bass season. This season, I'm going to be using this Evolution. I don't think it has a model number. Anyway, it's an Evolution fishing bag that I picked up on clearance at Cabela's for 25 bucks one day. It had the 3 boxes inside of it. 2 of them have cracked lids, and this is normally like a $60 tackle bag, so I offered them $25 and they took it. So I've got 3 new tackle trays for it here today, and this is what I'm going to be carrying for the upcoming Season 2 of PondHopper TV when we start fishing for bass, crappies, and bluegills here again in the early spring. Now, one of the things I like about this is it's not big and bulky like a regular backpack, but it does have the strap on it that you can wear across chest and carry it on your back or flip it around and carry it on your front. So I'm thinking that's going to be super convenient because I have here recently decided to stop lugging around a monster backpack everywhere I go because I usually only use a handful of items from the backpack anyway. And I've decided to start carrying less tackle. It's easier on the back and it's less to keep track of. So hopefully this is going to serve me well during the upcoming season, and we're going to go ahead and put it all together today. So when it comes to bass fishing, I'm pretty predictable. I really only throw just a small variety of lures for bass. My favorite is a fluke. The Berkley power bait flukes are my personal favorite because the biggest largemouth I ever caught in my life I caught on one of these things, and that one was 6 pounds right on the button. I'll also throw some Z-Man TRDs in the short and long version. Early on, when the bass are on the beds, I'll throw lizards, and then for hard plastics, I'll maybe bring a crankbait with me, but most of the time I'm throwing a chugger on the top water, or maybe like a little head and tiny torpedo or something like that. And then frogs. I throw a bunch of frogs, and we're going to be throwing a bunch of frogs. We're going to be going back to Wichita South Lake this spring and fishing some of the backwaters, looking for some of them slobs that live back there. So when it comes to pond hopping, I'm going to try something new this year. I'm going to have all of my components for fishing plastics in one box. That includes the plastics, sinkers, hooks, lead heads, everything in one tray. Just trying to consolidate, because the reality is there's only a handful of colors that I really like, and if I want to carry extras, I'll have my vest on where I can carry extras in the pockets of my vest, or I've got a couple of pockets here on the tackle bag I just showed you where I could carry some additional plastics as well. The majority of the time, if I'm throwing plastics, I'm using a worm hook by Eagle Claw or whoever else makes them. Some of them I will rig like you see here with a little O-ring on the tip to give it more action. That's a trick I learned from Mike Iconelli. Thanks, Mike. It actually works too. I caught a really nice 4-pound largemouth bass the day I started using that strategy. And I'll usually, to get weight on the fluke or the Cinco, because those are really about the only two plastics I throw other than a Zoom trick worm from time to time, I'll use a lighter wire 2 to 3/0 hook depending on the size of the fluke. Or I will add one of these 1/16 bullet sinkers here. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. And that's it. Now, one of the things I am going to do this year is I'm going to start doing some more drop shotting for bass, especially out at Wichita South Lake. I don't drop shot for bass very often. I like it for crappies and panfish. I just haven't really had the patience with it for bass, but at Wichita South Lake, because it's such a deep sand pit, it kind of sets itself up for some drop shot fishing. So we'll be doing some of that as well. Also in this box, I'll have some of these clamps. I like these clamps, especially if I'm fishing open water without a lot of obstruction. Gives the jig head a little bit nicer of action. And if I want to switch jigs or switch to a worm on the fly, it makes it very easy for me to do that. And then I also have my O-rings for the Cincos, which are in here. I'm not going to bother to dig them out, but I actually have a tool. I'll find it here and show it to you, where it makes it very easy to put the O-rings on my Cincos, and I can run them wacky or I can run them Texas rig with the worm hook. All right, so to start this box off, I've got my Ned heads there. I've got my bullet weights. I've got some drop shot sinkers. I've got some of the breakable stick sinkers if I actually want to put the lead directly into the bait. I've got my variety of drop shot hooks and my variety of worm hooks. Now, in my opinion, a staple in every bass box should be something black and blue, whether it's a fluke, a worm, a drop shot worm, a Cinco stick bait, like this, black and blue seems to be a great color for bass. So this is always a staple in my box, because I'll find a lot of times when I can't get them to hit anything else, on a slow day, I can go to a black and blue Cinco, wig it wacky, say that 5 times fast, rig it wacky, and probably catch a fish. So black and blue stick baits, definitely going in the box. Also a staple in the box, Z-Man TRD in June Bug. It's kind of like a purple sparkle type of color, but this is a fantastic color. This is a color that my dad turned me on to here a few years ago, and I've had a lot of success with it. I don't fish a lot of these, but these are another one of those lures when nothing else is working. A lot of times these will get it done. I'll carry a couple of these in the 4-inch and a couple in the 2-inch in a plastic baggie. The one thing you're going to want to keep in mind when it comes to the Z-Man plastics versus other plastics, don't store them together in the same bag, because they will chemically react and cause your baits to melt. And with the Z-Mans, you don't ever want to leave them in a hot car, because they'll melt too. Another staple in the box, Zoom trick worms. I became a believer in these watching a guy fish out at Wichita South Lake one day when nobody else was catching anything else. And I was standing down a ways down the bank, and he was catching fish, and I asked him what he was throwing, and he told me it was them Zoom trick worms, not Z-Man, the Zoom trick worms. And I started throwing them out there, and sure enough, you know, the fish will bite them, especially after spring when the spawn's over and they're retreating off the bank a little bit and going back and hiding behind the weeds, going into ambush mode again. Throw one of these, you know, across the top of heavy foliage, or let it go all the way to the bottom. A lot of times I won't even put a weight on them. I'll just let them, just put a heavier gauge worm hook on there and let them float down and just jerk them through the weeds. Oh man, a lot of times that'll trigger a great reaction from a largemouth bass. My other staple, Berkley Power Bait Flukes. This is the green and red fleck. And the reason that I carry these in most of the places that I fish around here in Wichita, these are very effective. This has been one of the best colors. My personal best largemouth actually came on one of the blue and silver fleck power bait flukes. But around here, green seems to get the job done much better than any other color that I've tried, other than white, or white with a chartreuse tail works well around here too. Now last but certainly not least for my staple baits is a craw. Craws are very effective around the ponds in Wichita. I particularly like this green with the red and black fleck in it. I don't know what it is about this particular color, but fish seem to gravitate to this. The watermelon red fleck Zoom flukes are also a very good color around here. Now these won't actually go in the box. They'll go in a pouch somewhere in my vest or in the bag that I can easily swap things around as the season progresses. But early on, I will have lizards with me in a variety of different sizes and colors. The black and blue ones work very well. Usually with a lizard, the color isn't a huge issue because the bass are territorial on the beds protecting their eggs. And a lizard comes across there, usually doesn't matter what color it is, they're probably going to try to pick it up and move it off of the bed, or they're just going to crunch it. So either way, always good in the spring when you're around beds, have some lizards with you, at least a package. And last, as far as staples are concerned, is something white. A fluke, a white Cinco, a white worm, something white, or white with a chartreuse tail. I like the Zoom flukes with a chartreuse tail, which going through my bucket down here, it appears I'm out of, so I'm going to have to pick some more of those up before season starts. So always use a good excuse to go out to Cabela's, right? I did find a couple, so these will be going in the box, but I've only found 2, so I will definitely be picking up some more. Also, something that I've been wanting to try, these are KVD Perfect Plastics. These are called an Ocho Glacier. They are a stick bait, not quite round like a Cinco is. They're more, I don't know what, hexagonal, octagonal in shape. But something I definitely want to try. A white option. Here's just some plain white zoom here too, that's an option. And then there is the Senko tool I was telling you about earlier. This will also go into box here as a staple. So this will make up my standard plastics box. That way everything is in one location, and any additional have that I'll just carry them in a pouch in the vest or in the tackle bag, like I said. And then I've got to add these in. These things here, man, can be fire. All right, one more before we move on from the plastics. This is one that I have not fished before, and I'm going to start fishing it this year because I see guys around here throw these all the time. I'll see them laying around the shoreline. I'll see Senkos in the pink color, trick worms in the white color. And so I decided to pick up a package of pink flukes to give those a try this year to see how well they work. Next up is my, well, I guess we'll just call it hard baits box. It's mostly going to be a topwater box because most of the time if I'm throwing crankbaits, I'm throwing smaller crankbaits for crappies. This here is a frog, scum frog. Great bait, especially if you're throwing in thick stuff or thick heavy weeds like we get around here, and you guys will see that when we start fishing the North Pond over here at Wichita South Lakes for largemouth bass in season 2. I always like to have something with a white belly with me, and these brown and yellow frogs. This is, I think, a $2 Ozark Trail frog. I think this is another Ozark Trail frog. Actually, no, that's not. That's a little bit nicer a frog than the Ozark Trail. These are popping frogs. You can see the front of its face. And another brown frog that I've got here. I like these on really bright days. And then something with a yellow belly in it. And as the season progresses, I will be buying more frogs because I'm a frog junkie. And then as far as top water is concerned, I'm a big fan of the head and chuggers. Unfortunately, you can't really find those anymore unless you buy them used. And then, because there's actually an older head and chugger right there. Good luck finding these anymore. That's why I don't throw it a whole lot. I'm certainly not going to throw it around trees and rubbish and stuff. And then my other personal favorite is the Rebel Pop-Rs in a variety of colors. This is what I've got right now. I think I've got some more stashed away somewhere. I've got some smaller ones and some bigger ones. But I'll definitely be picking up some more of these as we get closer to season. And then, like I said, some smaller size cranks. I don't throw a lot of big crankbaits. I don't like throwing crankbaits. But every now and again, there's a time where throwing cranks will get the job done. Most of the time is if I see somebody else catching them on them. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to throw them. And I don't, like I said, I don't throw a lot of big crankbaits. I'll pick up a couple bigger than this as season moves forward. And then some kind of Rapala or minnow. And I'll have a couple of the larger size one of those with me usually as well. But again, probably not something I'm going to throw unless I see somebody else smashing them on that. For leader material, I'll have Berkley Vanish in the box. I'm a big fan of Berkley Vanish. I've always used it. It's always been very reliable for me. Does well tying to braid in situations where I need to do that. I usually have a spool of 6-pound, 8-pound, and 14-pound with me when I'm bass fishing, and that will pretty much allow me to fish any kind of cover that I run into. Otherwise, I'll have 20-pound braid on this spool and I can just tie it direct. Hey, I freed up a box. That's always a good thing. Okay, for box number 3, it will be my live bait box. Yes, I will throw live bait, especially night crawlers and live minnows and bluegills and crappies and anything else I can find to let it swim around while I'm fishing for a largemouth bass. It works. And, you know, I figure give yourself every opportunity. When I'm fishing for bass on the bottom, I like the bullet sinkers. Makes it easier for me to drag them across the bottom. Always have split shots in any box for everything, bluegills, trout, whatever. I always have split shots in one of the boxes that I'm carrying. I've got a larger slip bobber here. This is another weighted bobber, a thill bobber that I really like. Another weighted foam bobber, rattle bobber. You know, some larger floats for floating larger baits. And one of the things that we're going to be doing in season 2 of PondHopper TV when we get into bass fishing this year is fishing Senkos under float. A lot of people think I'm nuts, but I'm telling you, on the right day, if you get a little bit of chop on the water and you're not constantly having to chase a rod, throw a Senko out there and just let it flutter around. You'd be amazed the way the bass will chomp those things. So there we have it. Just like this. It's not heavy. Be really easy to carry on the bass fishing. Like the way that clamps on there. Gives me access to the trays without having to unzip anything. All I got to do is pop this, pull it out, and ready to go. And then I've still got plenty of room for anything else I want to carry. Like if I want to throw a different bag of plastics in here or whatever, or spinner baits. I'll take a spinner bait, put a hook protector on it, and throw a couple spinner baits in the bag. I don't throw a lot of spinner baits. From time to time I will. So I usually have one to 3 spinner baits with me. And you know, I've got a place here to put my line, and then I have rain cover on the back of this as well. So we are pretty much set up and ready to go just like that. Grab and go bass fishing. Compliments of Evolution Fishing. Great bag. I'm not sponsored or endorsed by these guys. It's just a product that I really like. So if you see one of these when you're out and about and find it on clearance or something, grab this, because it's an amazing little tackle box. Great for bass fishing. Okay. Camera just powered off by itself for some strange reason. So anyway, we're back. I decided I would go through the goodie box here today as we get ready for the 250 subscriber giveaway coming up with PondHopper TV. We just sent out the package for the winner here recently of the 100 subscriber giveaway. He has received that and is very happy with it. We have a Rapala Ripstop Deep Diving Minnow in here. We have a Lucky Craft USA shad style minnow in here. A couple of different color options there. We have another Rapala here. This is a Precision Extreme Series lure. We've got some soft plastics in here. Okay, and for those of you that like energy drinks, this is what I drink on the regular. Okay, I can't drink regular energy drinks. I'm not going to go into I'm not going to get into it about health and energy drinks. Just suffice it to say, they don't work for me. But this does. This is called Cherry Blaster, and this is a product that I promote through one of the websites that I have on the internet. It's how I fund a lot of my hobbies, like the guitars and the fishing tackle and all that good stuff. But amazing stuff. If you're looking for a healthier alternative to energy drinks, this Cherry Blaster is the real deal. You can get that through me. If you're interested in trying that out, just let me know. Leave me a comment below, or send an email through the PondHopper.tv website, and I will get a sample package of that out in the mail to you. So cheers with some Energy Blaster here. And I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully we'll get you some more fishing content here soon. Once the weather begins to cooperate, we're going to try to get out for some trout here later on in the week again. So with that, thanks for watching PondHopper TV. It's great to spend some time with you here today. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.